and welcome to an episode of Tokyo Reflections with World Athletics and us, the Backstraight Boys and Girl podcast. I'm Claire.
I'm Jodie. I'm Bayo.
And we have been asked somehow to distill our favourite moments from this summer's Olympic Games into just the very highlights. Welcome along.
So the next person, I feel a tiny bit sorry for because she got overshadowed by Karsten, whereas what she did was equally as spectacular.
Yes,
and it was equally a jaw on the floor moment. Yes. So obviously we're talking about Sydney McLaughlin and the 400 hurdles, and not just Sydney. I mean, you know, Delilah was amazing, Femke was amazing. Yeah. It was exactly this. It was so weird. It was almost like a mirror image of the men's race.
It's really interesting that the way it happened, because we had a favourite going in. They both set world records. The two people after them also set like the second fastest and the fourth fastest time of all time. They ended up the 1, 2, 3. You kind of it was just very, very strange, wasn't it? Like if you'd written both of those events, they actually both turned out as you would have expected, only elevated. They were kind of
very elevated.
But sort of going in, so Sydney set the world record at the American trials. Mm-hmm. She comes to the Olympics and sets another world record. But going in, did you think she was going to have it all her own way?
Probably not, only because Delilah had been injured this year, and I think she had
COVID
as well.
Struggling with
and
COVID.
She'd come to the trials and run her second best of all time. Yeah. So we're like, she's there's a bit of leeway there for Delilah to raise her game. And of course, Delilah did raise her game.
Yes.
But Sydney raised it even more.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Again, going in, if you'd said to Delilah, you're going to run this fast, she probably wouldn't have taken it because it was so fast. Second fastest time of all time. Have you got the times there?
51:58 for Delilah.
I don't think I'd noticed how fast those were.
Yeah, and 52:03 for Bolt.
No, I didn't realise that.
51:58, and you have to get a silver. It's just, we're seeing completely, obviously unprecedented by definition.
So with Jodie, neither of us had actually looked at these results properly, I don't think, because I just closed his mouth. Because I was thinking them in the sevens. I was thinking it's 51:78 maybe.
I'm really shocked by that.
Well, if you remember, Mohammed was ahead until 50 metres to go, and Sydney pips her to this one. She didn't leave her for dead. So, yeah, they will have both been ridiculously quick times.
I mean, obviously, we're astounded by these times. In the moment, we absolutely loved it. But I'm just wondering whether there was something special about that track for the 400 hurdles.
Just for that event.
Because it wasn't translated.
The interesting thing was, because we were saying at the time, the track's crazy, and then the men's 400 wasn't. Then the women's 400 was.
Well, just for the first, but it wasn't for everybody in the race.
No,
like
it wasn't for everyone in the race. No.
So I don't know. There was something very special going on with that track for the 400 hurdles. And aligned with having special athletes in the moment as well.
But of all the events that we've been talking about, I think it's maybe the women's 800 as well. But this is the one that is going to really, really pop in Eugene next year. This is the one that surely the American fans are really looking forward to. Because not only do you have Sydney, who's like really super young and now the Olympic champion and the world record holder, but you have Delilah Mohammed, who's the former world record holder, twice the world champion, Olympic silver here, running her fastest time ever at 32 or something. Yeah. So it's not over, you know. And then also, maybe scarily for the Americans, Femke Bol is actually the most improved athlete across the whole event this year. And to run, what did she run?
52:03.
52:03. Is that the third fastest of all time? That's just slightly slower than the previous world record. How was it the same?
It's a continental record, I know that.
Third fastest person.
But you then take her. What has she learnt this year? You know, she's even younger, isn't she?
She's like 21.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same age as Sydney. Yeah.
But think what she's learnt this year. I think going into next year, how much can she improve? Again, we may not see times like this again, you know, but that is one of those events which is like going to be so amazing, especially because it's in Eugene.
And the thing with Femke Bol this year as well was she competed the most by a mile.
Yeah.
Sydney only competed 3 times in the 4 hurdles. Yeah. So, and Delilah didn't compete tons either. Femke Bol competed everywhere, won the Diamond League.
Ran the mixed 4x4.
Yes. But what she's learned over 400 hurdles this year, learned how to compete. And if Sydney, and especially Sydney, because she only competed 3 times, but if she competed more against these amazing other women, she might have lost some as well. It might have been a little bit more mixed, a bit in the mix. Yeah. So Femke Bol definitely is one to look out for, and she's got a lot of improvements to make technically as well.
Yeah. Well, Sydney spent a bit of the first part of her outdoor season doing 100 metre hurdles, didn't she? And I think that really showed off. She's always been technically a really wonderful hurdler to watch. It all looks incredibly efficient and strong and controlled, but it's different level this year. It's so tight.
What's so interesting is we've said for years, I mean, everyone says this, I don't quite know why it hasn't happened, but everyone says that the women's 4x4 hurdles are too low. It means
Not 4x4 hurdles.
4 hurdles are too low.
hurdles.
And it means that athletes can get away with not having the greatest technique because they've got the speed. But what we now have is especially those two athletes who have immaculate techniques and have the speed. And that's when you get this. This is when you get mid 51s, because we've had people with one or the other. We've never really had people with that speed and that technique.
Yeah.
Just also want to shout out to another event. I know we're meant to be trying to limit the scope of these discussions, but we later on in the championship saw Mohammed and Sydney in the women's 4x400, which was just like an Avengers squad of absolute super women. It was those two plus Alison Felix plus who was the
I think Mo.
Obviously it was Athing Mo. Oh my, what a quartet.
It was like they arose out of the ground like these goddesses. It was
Avengers Assemble, wasn't it? Like,
so badass. Just so cool.
what was it, Claire?
I'm not doing that again. It just came out of me. I'd forgotten it was Mo.
Literally like the most perfect specimens of athleticism ever been assembled in the world. They're like the superheroes.
Yeah.
And they ran like superheroes, and it wasn't even the race for me, it was the moment they emerged.
I totally agree. Yeah.
It was just honest. Like we keep talking about this hypothetical situation in which athletes are offered performances. Would they have taken them for the games? If you'd offered us just that, just the sight of those four coming out of the tunnel about to do some athletics.
There's a moment in Avengers Endgame, I think it is.
I've never seen any
I've not
Avengers
seen
film.
it
Do I need to
either.
know?
No,
Am I gonna
No. So there's a moment in the Avengers Endgame where, famously, in all the Avengers films, the women have kind of been sidelined a bit, you know. But there's this big battle where suddenly all the famous women characters all come together in this time they come from the sky, and they all converge and they all like fight at once. And it's amazing. Like, people all cheered in the cinema when I was there. That's kind of what this was. It's like all the super women coming together to take on the world.
If they'd came in capes, I would have.
They really should have. They really should have come in capes.
And that, again, is another event that's just going to set the worlds on fire next year. Because, I mean, obviously the Americans will love the relays because they'll have such strong squads there. But if they can get those four back together, I mean, like, never mind ABBA. That's the full set. We want to see back together next year. Oh, Alison,
that is one tough world record. It's like from the 88 Olympics, and it's the Soviet Union, and everybody ran sub 50. I think 2 people ran 48 in that. They have the potential to do this. And in the relay, just to say, it's an average of under 49 a leg. Yeah. So that's how fast you've got to be.
The average. The average is under 49 a leg.
But you're right, those four could do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in this, I mean, it's I don't know the exact splits, but Sydney slightly underperformed on the first leg. And I wonder if first leg is the right place for her. But obviously, she just set the world record in the four hurdles. Like, there's a lot of other stuff going on. But those four together, like, people have run a 50. If she can run a 50-second first leg or sub 50, like Gwen Torrance did in '93, then that sets them up. They can all run 49 and 48s for the other events.
What's interesting is only one of them is a specialist 400 metre runner.
So
Who?
true.
Alison.
Well, she's even more 200 metre runner.
Yeah, but not in
These
recent
days.
years.
Yeah, no, but like,
I mean, she was running the 400. So
Yeah.
they've actually taken it from other. I can't remember a time. You sometimes get an 800 metre or a 4x4 or someone else in the team. I can't remember another time when 3 out of the 4 haven't competed in the actual 400 metres at the games.
I wonder, and I don't know what the schedule's like, but I wonder if Athing will double next year.
I was just about to say I want to see more fours from her because I want to keep seeing her run the 8s because I want more Keely Arthing battles over the years. But yeah, let's see her over some 4s.
I just want to see her run. Like, I don't care what she was. I'd love to see her do a 200. Yeah.
I mean, her start would be a thing of kind of horrific beauty.
Yeah, but that's stride length for the way she runs.
Yeah.
I want to see her run every race.
This is really fangirling, really lame, but I just really want to meet her. She's so cool, isn't she? Really want to meet Althing Mo.
I'm sure we can get her on the podcast.
We'll have to hit her up. Althing, we're just going to continue shouting at athletes now. If you're watching, we worship you. Come on our podcast and run some 400s.
And wear a cape.
Thanks very much for watching this episode of Tokyo Reflections with us, the Backstraight Boys and Girl podcast. I've been Claire.
I'm Jodie.
I'm Bayo.
if you'd like to listen to the podcast, you can find us on Twitter under the Backstraight Boys, on Instagram, and we have lots of guests, we have lots of chat, we have lots of irreverence, and we get lots of facts wrong. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all in Eugene.